Well, hello and welcome again to Edison Vintage. I'm Phil Greenwood and welcome back to the cottage, 200 metres above sea level, up in the rainforest area of the Otway Ranges, just north of Apollo Bay. And we've now finished all of the timber work in here. We've put in the lining boards, we've done architrave, we've done some window frames. It's ready to paint, but I thought what we might do today is just discuss some of the lighting. Now for this project we're just installed wall lights, there's no ceiling lights, so the idea of wall lights is that we can control the lighting and create an effect and either light the wall, not light the ceiling, light above, light below. There's a lot of things you can do with globes and shades, so I thought we might go through and run through the lights we've used and how you might control them. And the first is this picture frame light, which is a bit of a steampunk sort of design, but it is designed to have some modification to the shade so that you can tilt it up, tilt it down. But because it's a little bit dull, what we thought we might do is show you just how to change the globe. And we're going to swap this vintage globe out and put in a 4-watt LED. So the first thing we do is we unscrew the wing nut here, which is the wing nut, that's the side where there's 2 shade rings. Now you'll see on the other end there's only 1 shade ring, and what that means is the cage is actually connected to this lamp holder, and if we disconnect it here, it'll come off. So the first thing I might do is turn off the globe. Bit safer. So first thing is to undo the wing nut. And you'll see that starts to drop. So this whole cage comes off. You put that aside. Oops. We can just unscrew the globe. And we get our 2-watt LED. Now this is just a straight, 4-watt LED. This is a double line of 3 LED strips. This will be a lot brighter. It'll still be warm because it's 2200K, so it'll still have a vintage feel, but it will be quite a bit brighter and we'll put a bit more light on the wall. So the removal or the replacement is the reverse of the removal. Obviously, we make sure we put the bolt back through the hole in the other wing nut. It's a bit difficult without my glasses. I get that in. We screw that wing nut on. Do that up tight. We'll just turn this down a bit. Now you'll see that with the LED, it's a bit brighter. So there you go. That is quite a bit brighter. We can turn this shade down to reflect into the wall, keep it away from the ceiling. We could open it up and let a bit more light into the room. My guess is we might set it down about here so that it just is lighting the wall. Now we could put a painting under here. We could leave it as it is, but maybe it's best for what we're going to put up here to see what it looks like first. So the other 2 lights we've got are these 2 wall lights. Currently at the moment we've got one set up with a pearl piece of glass, a 150mm pearl, and the other side we've got a steel hat reflector which just reflects to the wall. Now you'll see they're slightly different. You probably can't tell, they're slightly different colours. We'll show you in detail up close. What we might do is just make them both the same so that we can determine whether we should use a pearl shade here or a reflector. So you can see the effect of this pearl type glass shade. It creates a nice soft light, but it also it's got a bit of a problem. You can't quite see it here, but it does actually have a slight ribbing or banding in the pearl. That's because of the globe we're using. We could use a pearl globe, which would assist. But what we might do is just do this one, change this one and replace it with a metal shade. So what we thought we might do is replace this with what is a a steel shade. It's green on the outside, you can't quite see, it's green on the outside, and it's a white or an off-white reflector on the inside. Now, the reason we're going to do that is because what we want to do is throw a lot of light down onto the wall and onto the surface in the room, and we want to sort of minimize the light that's going up. You can see up here, you'll see that there's a fairly dark ceiling, and maybe that's not the best thing to be lighting up, and so we're going to change this. First thing we're going to do is turn the light off. There you go, now it's all dark. So there you go. Now that we've got that sorted, we can remove the glass. Now we've got to undo these gallery screws quite carefully. You should undo all of them and then undo them a little bit more, and it's the wrong side, so we can't do it. Now to do this, we're going to have to change. To do this, we're going to have to change the gallery, and I haven't got a gallery with me. I've left it in the other room. So I've got my gallery. Now for this light, the pearl, the 150mm pearl diameter glass shade, it takes a 3 1/4 gallery. Now the small metal shades, they take a 2 1/4 gallery. So we're going to have to remove the gallery. Now these are attached on these systems with a shade ring. So what we need to do is just very carefully make sure the light's off, but unscrew the bottom shade ring, and that should come off. I'm doing right there. That should come off fairly easy. You can just hold the pressure down on it, and hopefully you can get to that gallery screw. And there we have the shade ring, or we call shade nut. Now, so the idea is to just attach the 2 1/4 gallery. What we'll do is we'll just get that started, just to give yourself a bit more room. Unscrew the gallery screws so that you've got a little bit more space, and then we'll tighten that up. Once we get it moving, we should be able to spin it with the gallery. It should lock or hold onto the shade ring so that you can just do that up. That's all right. Fine. Now we get our metal shade. This is the green metal shade with the cream reflector. Ugh. So we just push that in. We undo these completely, so not so they fall out, just so that they're all out. We do have a video. We'll show you that in a link up the top about how to use a gallery. It's more important for glass to get this correct, but for steel, we get it all the way in, and then we slowly turn or screw in clockwise all of the gallery screws so that the shade sits sort of level within the gallery. So now we'll try a globe and we'll see what it looks like. Now what I thought I might do is just try one of these. It's a vintage incandescent spiral. This is probably a little bit too dull in this environment. We'll probably use LEDs, but we'll turn this on and see what it looks like, because this one does screw up inside the shade so the light doesn't come out around the outside of the shade, which might be a good look. So let's turn that on and have a look. So there you go. You can't see the globe, but you can see the light on the wall, which is a good result. It's probably a little bit dark, and we might put an LED version of this type of globe in, but for the moment we'll leave it at that, and we'll decide what to do, because we've got two of them. We're going to match them up, so we might do LED, we might do vintage. I just thought I'd mention also that the other shade that we could use in here, rather than have a shade with a painted outside and a painted reflector, we could use one of these, which is a steel type finish, and what that'd do is just knock back the light that's coming off the reflector and will give them more of a bare bulb feel. In this situation, I think probably the white reflectors might work better because we're basically using the wall lights as a light for the room, and so we want as much light to come down onto the wall as possible. Where you've got just an effect light, just a visual light, maybe the steel reflectors are the go, but in this case we'll use the white ones. So the next shade that we can show you is a shade that's very similar, but is a dome. I can show you up here, is a dome rather than a splayed out shade. Now this will give you a opportunity to put a bigger globe in, slightly higher power, same sort of effect, but it will hide the globe a little bit better than this. So let's try that on. We'll turn this off, we'll replace the shade, we'll show you what it looks like. So I've taken the globe out, turned the light off, so we'll just undo the gallery screws. Oops, take that out. Now this is a slightly different gallery top shape. It should go in. These are a little bit harder to get straight, but we do it a bit tight. There we go, we just get that straight. That's pretty good. And now what we might do is try an LED in here, a bigger globe, a longer globe, an ST64, and just see if that hides inside the dome. So an LED, there we go, that goes all the way inside. We'll turn that on. And there we have it. So that's a whole lot more light from a 6-watt LED rather than a 25-watt incandescent. It does create a lot more light. It is quite warm. It's a 2200 K temperature globe, so quite warm. But it does throw a lot of light down onto the wall and keeps it off the ceiling, which is the effect we're after. So there's one other type of shade that we could use here. We've used a metal shade, we've used a reflector shade, we've used a sphere, a pearl sphere. So the other thing we can use is one of these, like a clear glass shade. And this is a Holophane fluted sort of thing, a little bit Downton Abbey, but what we'll do is we'll replace this steel shade and we'll have a look, turn the light on and see what it looks like. So we've taken the metal shade out. Now I thought I'd explain with the glass shades. It is a little bit more critical how you do up these little screws. Now this is cast glass, so it's pretty strong, but bear in mind that it is glass, so you should do these up a little bit at a time so that all of the gallery is fitting correctly. So you'll feel it getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Just one at a time, just clockwise until you start to feel it bite. Now these should end up fairly even so that they are grabbing the glass in an even way, and you'll feel that. Also, don't do too tight a screw into these. You could break the glass. And the glass can expand a little bit as there's a globe in there, depending on what it is. And so you need a little bit of leeway for that glass to expand so it doesn't crack. Anyway, we'll try the globe. We'll turn on the light and we'll show you what it looks like. So we're just using an ST64, just the same globe was here. You could use a shorter GLS or A60 type globe, but we'll have a look. So there we go. That's a little bit difficult to see on the video, but it is fairly bright. Now this throws a little bit of light above, which is fine for where you need that type of reflector. And it gives a softer light around the globe. It's probably a little bit Downton Abbey for this cottage, but I'm not sure exactly which lights we're going to settle on, but for the moment we'll probably just use the green shades. So there is one opportunity to put in a pendant or a ceiling light, and we chose this Holophane ice cream parlour shade, we call it. It's a two-part shade. It's quite large. It shows light above and below. It's a sort of a breaks it all up Fresnel sort of screen pattern on the glass. You can't see it here, but we'll show it to you in detail. The other light that we've got above the stairs here is a wall light. Now all that does really is light up the stairwell. It's where you're walking. It's out of the way so it doesn't get in the way of when you're moving things up and down the stairs. So it's above the landing. But we're still experimenting with these lights. Temporarily, we might remove one or the other. We'll see how it goes. So the other lights that we've installed here as wall lights are the upstairs little decorative lights each side of the window. These are black painted gal fittings. For the moment, we're going to leave these as black painted gal or black painted pipe fittings. They've only got 4 white lights in, so they're not very bright. We'll see how they go when it gets dark. We might replace these with antique brass small fittings. So I hope this video answered a few questions about shades, what type, how to use them, what they're for, where to put them, and how to adjust your lighting according to your requirements. If you've got any questions, you can put them in the comments. And remember, if you like the video, subscribe, give us a thumbs up and all that sort of stuff. And for now, we'll leave this video where it is. And when we get back into the cottage and do a bit more work on various lighting systems and other things, we'll do another video here. But until then, bye for now.